Hey everybody, HomeSliceHenry here, and in today's video we're taking a look at something exceedingly rare, and that is an unobtainable legacy Acid Muck in the Open Great League. These battles were submitted to the channel by a member of the community, Iron Corker, so many thanks for the battle submission. Now, Muck had Acid removed from its move pool in August of 2016, so almost a full decade ago. But this trainer held on to it, and now with the massive buff to Acid, they're going to be testing it out in the Open Great League. So without further ado, let's hop into the matches and check out Acid Muck in action. Hopping to the first match, picking up a very positive lead, leading Jellicent into Clodsire. And the Clodsire is staying in this matchup, which means there's something in the back that is core broken by the Jellicent. Jellicent Surf is going to be shielded. Opponent is going to return fire here with an Earthquake. Earthquake not going to threaten a knockout. There's going to be a save switch into a Mandibuzz, and Mandibuzz is going to be answered with the unobtainable Legacy Acid Muck. Now, I believe the lore behind this Muck is that this move was actually given to Muck in error back in 2016. And when they realized it, they ended up removing it from its move pool so that in the future, no Mucks would be able to learn Acid. However, if you already had one of the Mucks that had the move and you held on to it all these years, well, suddenly you have a really cool collector's item. As Acid, obviously, a newly buffed and improved move for this season. Muck going to be firing off another Thunder Punch. This is going to land into the Mandibuzz. Mandibuzz is barely able to hang on, making it to one final charge attack. It is going to be the Aerial Ace that will not KO. In comes that Clodsire, and we will see an immediate switch back into the Jellicent. Jellicent saved all the energy from earlier Surf, is going to land. Jellicent trying to get to its next Surf, but unable to get there. Clodsire Earthquake is going to pick up the KO, and now it's going to be up to Lurantis to try and close out this game. Lurantis obviously got a buff this season as well with Fury Cutter, but this Lurantis I'm just now noticing is not running Superpower. This trainer opting for a spicy moveset with Leaf Storm. Opponent tries for a catch, but there's no catch to be had. Great patience by our battler, and now they will get to pick up the knockout with the Leaf Blade. In the back is going to be Jellicent, and now Jellicent is going to get absolutely rocked by a Leaf Storm. Leaf Storm from Lurantis picks up the one-hit KO. Down goes Jellicent, and that's a good game. We move to match number 2, and it's actually the same lead as last game. Jellicent into Clodsire, and again, this Clodsire is not switching out. Jellicent will be able to outpace here, firing off the Surf. Surf into the Clodsire is going to be no shielded. This opponent going to be firing off energy, and we actually see a shield from the Jellicent as if they're staying in. Then Jellicent is guaranteed to have value in the back. Another move reached by the Clodsire, and this time there is going to be a no shield from the Jellicent as the opponent only ends up settling for a Stone Edge. Jellicent can just pick up the knockout here with a Surf. Opponent ends up shielding, and to me that's a pretty big mistake as now they're forced to double shield if they want to preserve this Clodsire. They're going to do just that. Clodsire farming up. At this point, I think you're probably okay to just let the Jellicent go. Clodsire goes for the Earthquake, but it does not KO. The Jellicent hangs on 1 HP. Surf is going to pick up the KO. Jellicent winning switch advantage and shield advantage. In comes Talonflame. That's going to be answered with the Acid Muck. Unfortunately, the Muck gets one turn brain, and the opponent realizes it and punishes it by throwing instantly. They go for the Brave Bird. In the back is going to be Jellicent. Jellicent is going to outpace here, making it to a Shadow Ball. Shadow Ball will not KO. However, this is a little bit of an awkward situation as you don't really want to give farm to the Talonflame. So I like the call to get the Lurantis as low as possible here, firing off the back-to-back Leaf Blades. Oh no, the Hex actually KO'd. Oh no, I don't think that was in the plan, as now Shadow Ball is going to land onto the Muck, and Muck needs to survive and Incinerate to win this game. It's going to be close. Can Muck hang on? Incinerate, a pretty powerful move. Muck with the 1 HP survive. That got a lot closer than I ever thought it was going to, but Muck able to hang on. The 2016 OG is going to secure the win. Moving to the next match, Jellicent staring down Shadow Scizor. Shadow Scizor does only win the 2s here, so for Jellicent, definitely not a bad spot to be in, as Jellicent is going to fire off the Surf. Surf's all that's needed here because of the extreme frailty of Scizor. Scizor going to be firing off the Night Slash. We're going to see the no shield. Night Slash is going to come through, and there's that attack boost. And oh boy, Scizor might honestly just sweep this entire team now. Scizor going to be hit with the Surf. They're never switching out. They're just going to shield and fully bullet punch down. So you're kind of forced to switch out here. Oh, stays in, but all this does is just give farm to the Shadow Scizor. Scizor gonna farm up. This Night Slash probably just cleanly knocks out the Muck. It's double boosted. It doesn't, but the Bullet Punch after does. In comes Lurantis, and Lurantis is just praying that it's double water in the back. Lurantis is going to be shielding up the Night Slash. Opponent going to switch out into Jellicent. Jellicent farming up a ton of energy. This is a scenario where Leaf Storm will be helpful. It's cleanly going to knock out here. Leaf Storm picks up the KO. Down goes Jellicent. Oh my goodness. It's Swampert to the back. Iron Corker over farming, playing to the CMP tie. This Leaf Blade, -2, still KOs. In comes the Scizor, and my goodness, once the Scizor boosted, it looked like game over, but with 2 water types in the back, Lurantis gets the reverse sweep and takes the win. Dream lead in the next match, Jellicent staring down a Claydol. Opponent gonna save switch into an Acid Credilli, and Credilli is now gonna be met with the Acid Unobtainable Legacy Kanto Muck. Muck is going to fire off Dark Pulse. Opponent is going to end up committing the shield. Rock Tumors love to shield the first move, so then they can continue to apply debuffs and just chip away at the attack stat more and more. This puts Muck in a pretty interesting position here, where Muck is now basically not going to be doing any damage with Dark Pulse. Because it's -2, Dark Pulse already doesn't get same type attack bonus, so when this Dark Pulse comes out, oh, that just does laughable damage. That is so unfortunate. Gonna fire off Dark Pulse here. It looked like that was a CMP tie, but this is honestly great because now you can just Hex down with this Jellicent, because since they're not on Bullet Seed, there is no fast move pressure here. So Jellicent is gonna get a really nice Hex farm down. Opponent is gonna bring in Galarian Moltres, and this is a core breaker. Galarian Moltres obviously beats Lurantis and it beats Jellicent. But with the energy advantage, Jellicent is able to output some solid damage here. The second Surf is going to land. Moltres now deep into the red. Moltres is going to fire off the fly, and now it's going to be up to Lurantis to close out this game. In comes Lurantis. It's a simultaneous switch. Lurantis into Claydol. Lurantis going to be firing off a Leaf Blade. Lurantis just has such an incredible pacing advantage here. Opponent is just going to let that through. And from here, this game is over, as Lurantis will get to fully Fury Cutter down. Opponent sees the writing on the wall and concedes the match. We've got some spice from the opponent in the next match as Jellicent stares down Toxtricity. Toxtricity, obviously, oh, they actually throw out alignment there. That's a huge error from the opponent. I was going to say, obviously has incredible pressure with Wild Charge. They're going to pivot out, save switching into a Wigglytuff, and Wigglytuff will swiftly be answered with Muck. These acids are adding up. Muck gonna fire off Thunder Punch. Thunder Punch into the Wigglytuff is gonna be no-shielded. Wigglytuff will make it to an Icy Wind, but for Muck, that's very fine, as Muck still will be able to farm down. Unfortunately, Muck's attack being debuffed is really bad for it because his moves don't get same type attack bonus. Back in comes Toxtricity, the battle of the acid users. Toxtricity going to be hit with a debuff Dark Pulse, and that will be shielded. Opponent firing off energy here. If they go for the Power Up Punch, it's never KOing. They go for the Power Up Punch, it doesn't KO. That's going to cost them, as now the Dark Pulse is reached. That's solid damage into Toxtricity. Toxtricity going to be answered now with Jellicent, but it's Moltres as the final Pokemon, and we know without the Muck, Moltres is a huge problem. Jellicent just going to overfarm a ton. Moltres goes for the fly. This will not knock out, so you can actually no-shield here. We will see the no-shield by the Jellicent. It almost got KO'd, but it barely survived. The 111-15 IVs coming in clutch. It's all up to Lurantis now. Lurantis, these Fury Cutters, slowly chipping away at the remainder of Galarian Moltres' health. Moltres goes for the fly. There's the switch to Toxtricity, and Toxtricity will not be allowed to reach a move. Leaf Blade, KOs. All that's going to be left is the Moltres. It's a race to the move. Oh, we're going for the bad manners Leaf Storm. Leaf Blade would have KO'd. Iron Corker says, nah, it's Leaf Storm time. Down goes Galarian Moltres, and that game is over. We move to the next match, and it's going to be Jellicent staring down Shadow Jumpluff. Obviously, you would much prefer this on the Muck, but I still don't think this is a terrible spot to be in, since if it's the Shadow, more often than not, it's not on Energy Ball. Oh my goodness, I eat my words immediately. The Shadow on Energy Ball, that's not a combination I have seen before. Shadow Ball is going to land. That's some pretty significant damage. Opponent is going to be hit with another Shadow Ball. Here they could have fired off an Aerial Ace, but I guess maybe they're double nuke, and that's why they didn't end up throwing a move. But a Fortress farm down means this game is looking incredibly dire. Muck is brought in here, but Acid's going to be doing nothing. Muck just looking for some chip damage with a Thunder Punch, but realistically, how do you get rid of this Fortress? I genuinely don't think there's a single way to get rid of this Fortress. Muck is going to respect a potential Earthquake here, and they full send it. That is step one, getting a shield call right. Opponent is going to send in Clodsire. And maybe if it was something that was super weak to grass, there would be a chance, but there's no chance now. Even just the Clodsire is going to be able to sweep, as unfortunately Lurantis is at a 0-2 shield deficit. Lurantis going to fire off Leaf Blade. Clodsire just simply does not care. Leaf Storm on charge attack priority, hoping against hope this will be enough to knock out. It actually does knock out the Clodsire, but unfortunately, Fortress is going to be able to shut down this game and take the win. The opponent should know that this can only be a double resisted move, but they end up shielding. In comes the Muck. Muck going for the Thunder Punch. That's going to be shielded. This should be the Earthquake, so the opponent should still get the win. But man, them shielding a guaranteed double debuff, double resisted move when they had seen the whole moveset from Lurantis almost through the game. Moving to the next match, picking up a pretty nice lead, Jellicent staring down Corviknight. Considering the Pokemon that are in the back, Corviknight absolutely has to be dealt with on the lead. Corviknight will connect with a Sky Attack, Jellicent farming up quite a bit of energy here, going a bit over 100, as Jellicent will look to connect with the Surf. Surf is going to land onto the Corviknight. Corviknight is going to win Charge Attack priority here. This is only going to be an Iron Head from the Corviknight, so Jellicent is able to hang on, and now fire off Surf number 2. This Surf into the Corviknight, opponent is not going to put up a shield. Jellicent looking for the Hex down and exiting with a Surf loaded. Out comes Primeape. Primeape is a bit of a surprise to get brought in here because, yeah, they're going to have to commit an early shield because of Primeape's lack of bulk. In the back, oh, this is not what you're hoping to see. It's a Clodsire into a Fury Cutter Lurantis plus Unobtainable Legacy Acid Muck Core. Muck able to land the Dark Pulse, but with Acid being so heavily resisted, this matchup is just such a bad one. The Earthquake does come out, and we do see the shield from the Muck. Muck gonna fire off another Dark Pulse, just doing whatever it can to try and get the Clodsire lower. Oh, that may have been a charge attack priority tie. If it is, that's actually a really good turn of events here, as now you can just let the Muck go and try and sweep with Lurantis. Earthquake connects, down goes the Muck, in comes Lurantis, back in comes Primeape, and this is tough. Calling that it's not going to be the close combat, it is just going to be the Rage Fist, but there's so much energy available on this Primeape. A catch may be needed to take home this win. Lurantis farming up. We see the switch into the Jellicent and the game-winning catch. The opponent not waiting to see if a switch occurred, and that's going to cost them everything. Lurantis firing off the Leaf Blade into the shield of the Primeape, and there's Leaf Blade number 2. But the Clodsire is still alive in the back. It's very low health. It's going to be a race to the charge move here. Lurantis actually Fury Cutters down the Clodsire and wins the game. Jellicent into Greninja. Oh, this is a nightmare lead. The safe switch into the Muck. Muck is going to be answered with Galarian Corsola. Corsola, obviously not going to be an amazing matchup, but Dark Pulse will hit for super effective damage. So Dark Pulse into the Corsola is going to land. Opponent does end up throwing on alignment, and that does give a free acid to the Muck. Nightshade is going to come out. It looks like Muck can actually take the Zero Shield. Muck going to go for a Thunder Punch bait. Thunder Punch into the Corsola is going to be shielded. Can Muck make another move? The answer is yes. So the bait pays off, making it to a second Thunder Punch. The opponent does actually get knocked out there. I was not expecting that to KO. Maybe they just don't have a good IV Corsola. But now with Switch flipped, this Greninja in a significantly less favorable position, and Switch was the entire game. Clodsire would have destroyed Lurantis endgame, but now with Switch advantage, this game looks very winnable. Opponent throwing on alignment, you just cannot do that and expect to win. An entire free Hex, that's 13 free energy to Jellicent. Jellicent now going to be firing off a Surf. This will just pick up the knockout unless the opponent shields. They shield, they throw on alignment again. Oh my goodness. At this point, yeah, you could just let this go and win with the Lurantis. In comes Greninja, and Greninja will fire off the Night Slash, but Jellicent is no longer needed to win this game. In comes Lurantis. Oh, Lurantis may be able to pull off a 2-shield flex here. Lurantis farming up, going to easily pick up the knockout with the Leaf Blade. This will be massive overkill. And now do you potentially go for a Leaf Storm here? And it looks like that's what Lurantis is going for, getting to the Leaf Storm. And this is massive overkill. Clodsire gets absolutely vaporized, and that's a 2-shield flex win. Hopping into the final match, and it's a very bad lead staring down Dedenne. The safe switch into the Acid Muck. Opponent gonna respond with Dusclops. Dusclops obviously resisting Acid, but Dark Pulse will hit for some nice super effective damage. They're going to go for the Shadow Punch. Dusclops always extremely underwhelming neutrally. It's very, very spammy and very bulky, but my beef with Dusclops is just the fact that it never does any damage. So they're firing off a second Shadow Punch, but it's not even really in Hex down range. We see a massive overfarm here from the Muck, throwing on very nice charge attack timing, looking to pick up the knockout with the Dark Pulse. Dark Pulse is going to be shielded. We see a Thunder Punch reached by the Muck. The opponent trying for the Hex down. They're forced to give up both shields. And now, I think you can probably descend to the Jellicent, fully sacrifice it, and try and sweep with the Lurantis. They're going to go for the Shadow Punch. Even a second Shadow Punch will not knock out here, so I love this no shield. Another Shadow Punch comes through. Now the switch to Lurantis to get ahead on energy. Dusclops fires off a move. We will see the shield from Lurantis. Lurantis almost hit with an Ice Punch there. Dusclops gets fully Fury Cutter down. What's in back? We're not going to find out yet as Dedenne hits the field, but this is going to be goodbye to Dedenne as Leaf Storm picks up the one-hit KO. In the back is Jellicent. Jellicent, I believe they only did 4 here. Yeah, this is only a Surf. Trainer, you have to build up to the big move. And this energy generation, Lurantis just has so much loaded energy going for the Leaf Blade. And now it's Leaf Storm time. Oh, first it's actually going to be a catch onto the Jellicent. Iron Corker said, nah, I'm not done with this opponent just yet. The Leaf Storm's loaded. Oh my goodness. The flex there by Iron Corker, who said, nah, I'm not just winning. I'm catching a move I didn't even have to catch as well. All in all, these are some very fun battles, so thank you to Iron Corker for sending them in. All in all, the buff to Acid, I think, does represent a slight improvement for Muck over its original Poison Jab. One good thing, however, is that Muck is not a meta-relevant Pokemon. If it was a Pokemon that was meta-relevant and its best fast move was Unobtainable Legacy, we'd run into a pretty significant issue. But for now, it's Spice at best, which I think is probably for the best. But it's an incredibly cool collector's item, much like I have my Unobtainable Legacy Hundo Quick Attack Starmie, which was a moveset error from 2016. This is a very similar situation, where this is a Muck from earlier than August of 2016. So it's very cool that this trainer kept it for all these years, and now with the buff to Acid, actually we'll get a little bit of use out of it. Anyways, thank you guys so much for watching. If you enjoy the content, make sure to leave a like on the video and subscribe to the channel if you haven't. And a special thank you as always to our channel members here on YouTube. The support you guys provide is genuinely so appreciated. So thank you guys oh so very much. And until next time, I've been HomeSliceHenry.